Hi everyone, you have reached Safety-Driven's tutorial on how to complete the First Aid Assessment worksheet. We will cover the following: how to complete the form, how to determine your hazard rating based on your CU, which is a classification unit, and determine the required first aid services for your workplace. Start by locating the First Aid Assessment worksheet. On the landing page, click the Resource button and search First Aid Worksheet. Lastly, click the Download button. Now, let's fill it out. Complete the employer's name. Location. If you have more than one location, note that every workplace or work location needs a separate assessment. Shift name or time. If you have more than one shift at this location, for example morning, afternoon, or night shift, complete a separate first aid assessment for each shift, as every shift may have different hazards because of the work being done that day. Assessment date or date of review. Enter the form completion date. Next is workers consulted. Enter the names of all the workers who were consulted to complete this assessment. Check off the Joint Health Safety Committee participation box if applicable, and be sure to add the names of each member consulted. Keep in mind that if your company has over 20 workers, the JHSC must participate in the completion of the assessment. If you have less than 19 employees, the worker health and safety representative must be consulted. Next, dates of consultation. Enter the date the JHSC or workers were consulted. Lastly, documented by. In this section, write the name of the person completing the report. Adding their contact number is optional. Moving on to the second section of this form, we will determine the minimum first aid requirements. Let's calculate the number of workers at this location and on this shift. Remember, it may be different for each location. The number of workers you have that remain on site for the duration of their shift, such as office staff or warehouse worker, will count as 10 workers. Next, the number of workers that spend over 50% of their time within 10 minutes of the work location. They count as 1 worker, such as a mechanic or a local driver. The number of workers that spend 50% or more of their time and 10 minutes away from the work location will be counted as 0.25, such as long-distance drivers. Remember, we need to account for all people on our shift, including transient workers. These workers might be present at your work location. For example, if you are expecting 3 deliveries during that shift, account for 3 workers. As you can see, we have accounted for office and warehouse staff, workers that travel more, less than 10 minutes, and transient workers, giving us a total count of 24.25 workers for this shift. Add the total workers at this location or on this shift here. Now that we have completed the number of workers, let's determine your hazard rating. The QR code or the link to WorkSafeBC's website will direct you to a list of industries and classification units with the hazard rating of high, moderate, or low. If the location being assessed is a separate administrative location, check yes and skip question 2 and mark your hazard rating as low. If not, check no. We will need to identify your CU and associated hazard rating. The QR code or link will direct you to WorkSafeBC's website. Download the PDF and find your industry. For the purpose of this video, we will use General Trucking 732019, which is a moderate hazard rating, as we can see here on the CU list. Make sure to fill out your CU number and the assigned hazard rating. The next part of this question is asking if the work activities at the location being assessed are typical or normal for your CU. If so, check yes. However, if your assigned hazard rating is not an actual representation of work activities conducted at your workplace, then check off no and look for an alternative CU rating that better matches your work activities. On to the next section. Enter the time to the nearest BC emergency health service. If you can drive to the nearest ambulance station from the location being assessed in 30 minutes or less, your workplace is not remote. If it takes 30 minutes or more to drive to the nearest ambulance station, check remote. Now, let's see how accessible the workplace is. In order to identify if our workplace is less accessible, we need to check off any areas in Group 1 that apply to workplace activities. Checking even one box makes your workplace less accessible. If no box in Group 1 applies, that doesn't mean your workplace is actually accessible. Then we need to check off any hazardous areas in Group 2 where workplace activities make workers less accessible to emergency station. Checking even one box makes your workplace less accessible unless all of the 3 remaining boxes in Group 2 are met. 1. Workplace is not remote. 2. No boxes in Group 1 are selected. 3. Alternative provisions are in place to safely rescue workers from a hazardous area to an area accessible that can be accessed by the BC Emergency Health Services. If all 3 conditions are met, your workplace is not less accessible. Now that we know how remote or accessible our workplace is, we need to figure out our workplace class. You will need to refer to Table 3A, which will lay out all the information needed on first aid kits, first aid facilities, emergency requirements, and first aid attendance for each applicable class. If your workplace is not remote and is not less accessible, it will be classified as Class 1. If your workplace is remote but not less accessible, it will be classified as Class 2. If your workplace is not remote but less accessible, it will be classified as Class 3. And lastly, if your workplace is remote as well as less accessible, it will be classified as Class 4. Once we have identified the class of our workplace, we can determine our minimum first aid requirements. Click on the QR code for the first aid equipment, supplies, and facilities document to check whether we need a personal, basic, intermediate, or advanced first aid kit along with any other requirements, such as a dressing station or first aid room. Based on Table 3A, identify how many, if any, and what level of first aid attendant are required for that shift. Move on to the section beneath this, titled Emergency Transportation. Based on Table 3A, check off whether you need emergency transportation for 1 worker, 2, or none. Document any additional factors applicable to the workplace being assessed. If you are unsure or in doubt, still document it and be sure to reach out to us to help you determine if it's required. Document first aid services provided at this workplace. If your assessed workplace meets the minimum requirements as noted in Schedule 3A, check the box. However, if the first aid services provided at this workplace differ from the minimum required, note the differences for each category below, even if current first aid provided exceeds minimum requirements. For example, your company has additional aid factors that impact your first aid requirements, such as there is your business as additional hazards outside. Examples of this are contact with hot surfaces or liquids. Your company may take additional measures such as keeping cooling packs or other treatment options. Or working at heights with risk of spinal injuries, your company may keep immobilization equipment or specialized rescue training. Past overdose incidents, your location may have naloxone kits and provide training to their workers. Once the assessment is complete, check it over to make sure all questions are answered. If required, make arrangements necessary to meet minimum first aid requirements, such as training, ordering supplies, etc., and communicate changes/updates to all employees. Thanks for taking the time to watch and follow along. Don't hesitate to contact us for all your safety needs.